So yes, I'm driving, but the iPhone is wedged in the little dash area of my Prius. It's actually kind of nice. I can actually have music playing there when I'm driving, and I can see the album covers and whatnot. But anyway, I figured I'd record a little video of this because I was up all night thinking about all the pets that I used to have. I didn't really sleep at all, which is probably why when I finally dragged myself out of bed this morning and looked in the mirror, I noticed that I have this giant bloody spot on my eye where it looks like blood vessels have popped. I don't know if it was just because I was up all night or what, but it's actually happened almost exactly a year ago. I'll have to take pictures this time and compare them to last time, which are up on my Flickr. But anyway, I was up all night thinking about all of the pets that I used to have, and it really kind of made me think of my own mortality. Not just because, well, all of those pets are dead now, but because I realized that I actually don't remember a lot about the pets that I've had as a kid, like the many, many, many pets that I had. I mean, I remember the big ones, the ones that were not just big in size, but the ones that, the major pets, the ones that I had for, long enough to form a whole lot of memories with, the ones that lived a long time. The ones like our Chihuahuas, Chico and Jenny, or our cats, Mr. Wilson, who lived, oh God, I don't know, it seemed like he was alive my entire life. I didn't remember a time when I was alive that he wasn't until he died, which I don't remember how old Willie was when he died, but he was very, very old for a cat. And then my sister's cat, Misty, we had for a very long time. So I have very, very fond memories of her. And I guess her kittens, Princess and Duchess. Duchess we called Gyro because she had some sort of neurological disorder where she would spin around in circles. But I remember Batman, the cockatiel. I remember that we had another bird named Cinnamon Toast, but I don't remember if that bird was a cockatiel or a parakeet or what. I remember we had many parakeets, many cockatiels. I had several snakes. Ringo, the ringneck snake, which I remember his name because, Ringo, the ringneck snake. But I also had a garter snake, one that that had rickets. It didn't spend enough time outside, so its skeleton wouldn't grow fast enough because it had a vitamin D deficiency. But I don't remember what the name of what that snake's name was. I think it was Samson, but I don't remember. And I actually don't remember which of the two snakes was the one that used to get out all the time and curl up in Mom's fabric boxes. I think it was Ringo that used to get out all the time, but I think it was the other snake, the garter snake, that actually got out of the terrarium or managed to push itself between the glass, probably just like the ringneck one used to do. But because of the ringneck one getting out all the time, we actually put duct tape on the corners of the cage to keep the other snake out. And I think it was the garter snake that actually had gotten itself up to the corner and then gotten itself stuck to the duct tape that was keeping the corner of the terrarium down. But I can't for the life of me remember the name of that snake. I don't remember the name of our mouse that got pregnant and then ate its babies. I think it's Snowball, but I think that was the rat, not the mouse, the albino mouse. We had an albino rat and albino mouse. We also had a black and white mouse named Speedy Gonzales, who might have been the father of the babies to the albino mouse, but I think Speedy Gonzales was actually a female, despite its very male name, or at least the character that we named him after was male. But I honestly don't remember this, and it's kind of odd to me that I don't remember these sort of things. I'm only 33, but yet so many of my pets now have sort of faded into vague memories, and many of them are just sort of, I remember single events about them or sort of characteristics about them, but I don't remember really concrete things. I mean, ones that we had for a very long time, like our hamster. I don't remember what the hamster's name was. Probably because I think it was Natalie's hamster that she was the one who was supposed to take care of it. So it just kind of wasn't my responsibility, and so I guess my brain decided it wasn't my responsibility to remember what it was called. But I don't remember what our rabbits were called. Did they even have names? Our tarantulas, which I was very young when we had the tarantulas, so I only have sort of vague memories of them, like learning that tarantulas actually shed their exoskeleton. I remember the first time we looked in the cage and thought, wow, there where we only had one tarantula, suddenly there were two. But it turned out that one of them was actually just the exoskeleton. It curls up into a little ball and sort of drops out of its own skin when it has a fresh skin as it gets larger. But it's really weird to me to have all of these animals be part of my life, and many of them are just, like I said, faded memories. And I wonder what happened to all of these animals when they died. I mean, I think we buried most of them in our backyard, and I think a few in the front yard. I think we ended up burying Mr. Willie in the front yard because that's where he spent all of his times, under this one bush. It was a really, really ratty cat that had, parts of his ear missing from all the street fights that he used to have. He had major scars on his face, and I think his defense mechanism was to just never clean himself. He was totally an outdoor cat, so flea-ridden and matted fur ball sort of thing, but a super nice cat. And so I think he was buried out in the front. I wasn't around when Chico and Jenny died. They both died while I was at school. I think Jenny died when I was away at school in undergrad, and Chico died while I was away at school in grad school, which actually I'm coming up on this fall will be 10 years since I started grad school. Of course, I haven't graduated yet, and I'm trying to finish my thesis this summer, which is one of the other things that's been keeping me up at night. But I do remember where Misty was buried. I actually very clearly remember burying her because she was hit by a car. Probably it was one of our neighbors who hit her. He didn't admit to hitting her, but at least he had the honesty to tell us that she had been hit, and let us know that where to find her in the street behind our house. And I remember burying her because she was really badly sort of crushed from the impact of being hit by a car. And as we lowered her into the ground, her eyeball fell out, and I will never forget that image of this sad little cat and her eye hanging by its thread. That might actually be one of the reasons why one of the films that I was going to do for my thesis was actually one involving eyeballs popping out. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. It didn't occur to me until just now that might actually be why I'm kind of obsessed with eyes. That, and I have all sorts of weird eye problems, like the crazy, I don't know if you can even see it, but the crazy red spot on my eye. But anyway, I'm totally just rambling, but it's one of those things that, while I was laying there in bed last night, these are all the sort of ideas that were going through my head, and thinking about how, these animals are just sort of faded memories to me, and how the people that I've interacted with, I'm at the age now where, I'll probably have more friends and family that are dying. I've had two of my grandparents die, or that while I was around. My paternal grandfather died before I can remember. I don't know if he died before I was born or when I was a baby. I honestly don't remember. My grandfather died the week between, or somewhere in between, two of the armed robberies. When I was in undergrad, I was robbed twice at gunpoint at Trader Joe's, about a month apart, and right in between that, my grandfather died. My paternal grandmother died while working on 9, and I remember having my last conversation with her. She had all these feeding tubes in, or all these like breathing tubes and tubes in her throat, so I wasn't able to actually talk to her on the phone, or talk with her, I should say. I was able to talk to her and say my goodbyes, but I was actually in the phone closet in Duncan's studio in Pasadena as we were working on 9, saying my goodbyes. That was the only place I could find in the studio where I could both get reception and have a little bit of privacy. So I just kind of locked myself away in the phone cabinet, staring at all the crazy wires that are, you know, connecting all the phones in the studio. Thankfully my maternal grandmother is still alive. She's in South Dakota. I mean, in my life so far, I've only had a few friends die. There was an acquaintance. I mean, it wasn't really a close friend, so I would say more of an acquaintance. This guy James, who was stabbed to death when his mom and he came home, and I guess encountered a burglar. Somebody was robbing their place, and the guy panicked and stabbed this guy James in the chest several times and killed him. And that was when I was in high school. It was kind of really shocking to have known somebody who's died, but I wasn't really that close to him. So it didn't have that much of an impact on me, except sort of the paranoia of a burglar, I guess. To this day, I still, before I go to sleep, I'm constantly locking the front door, checking windows, that sort of stuff. So I think that probably had an impact on me. And then it wasn't until last year when my friend Chris Coffin died, like very suddenly. It turned out he had probably a heart condition. He had an enlarged heart. He was a runner, but he was really heavy as a kid, and was in decent shape. But I think it just got to the point where where his heart just kind of gave out on him, or he had just a small cold that developed into something bigger. He didn't have health care, which really drives me nuts about health care in this country. But so he hadn't been to a doctor in a very long time. It's possible that there was a combination of some of the over-the-counter medicines that he had, but he just died suddenly. It was really a shock to everyone, and it, you know, kind of took us all a long time to just sort of figure out or reconcile this sort of sudden death. I mean, he was a little bit older than I am, but not much. It's kind of bizarre that some of my heroes died at the age that I am now, or even in some cases younger. Bill Hicks was 32 or 33 when he died. John Belushi was 33. You know, some of these people that were just, they suddenly die. They're around and now they're not, and all that's left are sort of the memories of them. In some cases, you know, it really helps to have some sort of documentation of someone's life, which is so awesome that we can take digital photos. Well, you know, I have a camera, a video camera in my phone, that I can record something like this. And I'm probably totally filling up my phone. I see here that I'm at the 13-minute mark almost. So I'll stop talking for my good and for whoever ends up seeing this, which will probably be nobody, but I'll probably put it on YouTube. Why the hell not? I'm actually really happy that when I put my phone, wedge it in my dash, it's aiming right at me. Of course, I have this tiny little head and this giant steering wheel, but it's pretty cool to me that's possible. And you guys get to see me stuck in traffic in this awful 10 connecting to the 405 traffic. But anyway, I'm rambling, and I think I'll just leave it there. This video will be hopefully documentation of my life and what I've been thinking until we can download my consciousness into a computer and persist. It's actually sort of a continuation of a conversation that I had with Rob Fendler yesterday at work. I was reading a Reddit article about things that the original poster asked everybody, what sort of concepts do you find impossible to comprehend? And this guy's main thing was this guy was clearly a narcissist and had a hard time just comprehending the existence of other people when he wasn't around them, when he closed his eyes. His whole world was sort of centered around him, and so when he's not there, the world kind of ceases to exist, or the world that he can't perceive directly to him sort of ceases to persist. One of the top comments was some guy had posted about how bizarre it is to think that everyone around us is walking around with basically crap in their stomach, and that they will have to take a crap at some point in the day if they haven't already, or multiple times. That just the sort of world is surrounded by crap at all times. But then one of the better, that was a hilarious one, but one of the other more existential sort of comments was about how we're all going to die, and that our brains are sort of meant to. It actually relates to the guy who's narcissistic, and our brains are all about us. Our consciousness itself is what makes us, where our identity comes from, and it's sort of hard to conceive this notion that at some point our consciousness will cease to exist, and we will be dead, and our bodies will decay, and everything that is us, is me, will at some day cease to exist. And that's a really kind of crazy concept. That's a very heavy thing, and I understand the sort of the need to want to persist beyond this life. The reason why so many religions have the concept of the afterlife, something to explain away this fear that we inevitably have when we become aware of our own mortality, and being religious as a kid, feeling that comfort of knowing that there's an afterlife, but then sort of evolving beyond those religious beliefs and having a more grounded view of reality, that when my brain stops working, the entity known as me is essentially dead. And as my body decomposes, that's pretty much it. I return to the earth, I return to stardust. We all come from stardust, which is kind of a crazy, bizarre concept. So anyway, I'll just leave it at that, as I'm stuck in awful stop-and-go traffic. I wonder if anyone will ever watch this. I wonder if I'll ever watch this. I wonder if you can even hear me. I wonder where the mic is relative to this, if you can even hear this. Well, this is a fun experiment. I need to turn on the AC because it is ridiculously hot inside this car now. Yay, global warming. It's only spring. It's going to be a very, very, very hot summer. It's another reason why I haven't been able to sleep. Okay, I'm going to stop. Bye.